Hello, I'm Duke Tamiki. I wanted to talk to you briefly about how to create a journal. And I've taken a couple of notes here to make sure that I stay on point because I have a propensity to wander. But what I wanted to talk about was how to create a journal. And this is not the only way, and it's not the best way. It's just the way that I created journals, and it may prove useful to you or not. Uh, the one thing that you should know is that I have a talent that I have an eidetic memory when it comes to fighting. So it made it a little bit easier for me to create a journal because I could recreate the fights mentally. And I didn't have to stop after every single fight and write something down. I could, you know, do a 4 or 5 or up to 10 fight pass, but I was able to go back and break down each individual pass. Um, and I don't know how I came about having that type of talent, so I don't even know how to. I don't know how to train you with that ability or how to teach you to have that ability. And so um, maybe, you may have to, at the very beginning, stop after each fight and only have one pass with somebody and then sit down and write it down until you maybe learn how to remember each fight so that you can go 2, 3, or 4 or 5 passes and then be able to go back to your journal. But when I would write in my journal, these are the things that I would cover in my journal to make sure that I understood the process that I went through in the fight um, and what my reactions were to that fight. So the first thing I would write down is blows your opponent through and what your response blows were. And the reason why I would do that is because even now, people just throw because somebody else is throwing. They don't really see an opening. Just because that dude is attacking you, you feel you have to attack them. I was a more of a defensive fighter, so I would never. Uh, if I was fighting someone uh, with more prowess and more skill than I would never start the fight. I would never throw blows for no reason. I would literally remain defensive and receive as many blows as he was going to throw because that allowed me to see what he offered. And then from there, on the fly, I was able to come up with a strategy that I thought that was useful. And then that would help me. And the other things is I would also write down what reactions I had to his or her blows. Um, that was the easy part because I would turtle up and allow that person to be the aggressor and uh, allow him to throw blows, so it was easier for me to do that. And so that would physically get me to turtle up to make sure that I was alive to take a shot at any mistake he made in my opportunity. Um, and then I would write down how his or her blows made uh, me react or how they affected me mentally. There were times that I would turtle up and then somebody would throw something and they'd almost hit me. And so mentally, uh, that had me thinking, oh, this dude is able to strategize and himself and be creative enough to be more deadly than I thought. Um, Mentally, it would fill me with a little bit more vigor if I were able to withstand his blows. Um, so that helped me as well. Um, and then I would write down what blows killed me and how he or her developed those shots. Um, and that also helped me figure out triggers because if they started doing that same motion, I would automatically think that they're throwing that blow, even if it were a different blow and it was developed the same way. I would uh, try to think ahead and go, okay, he's throwing that flat snap, and then I'd immediately block that and then throw a shot. Um, that would cause his defense to have to activate, i.e., I'm not throwing in the middle of his shield. If he started and I saw the trigger, I would literally throw somewhere where he would have to uh, block, and by doing that, what I would do was interrupt his process. So if he had the smoothest flat snap, he would be halfway through it, and then he'd have to bail out and block whatever shot that I'm throwing. And I know initially that is what people are going for when I ask the question, "Why are you throwing a blow?" And they're going, "Because he's throwing at me," and but they're not taking full advantage of that because you're throwing in the middle of his shield. He didn't even have to move his shield. If you're going to do that, uh, be more proactive and make sure that your shot is coming in from a weird angle that he literally has to stop his blow and switch to the defensive side of his mind and cause him to block those shots. And also, I'm not saying that every fight is about you being the, Pell and letting him beat you up. Even if you are fighting someone and you have more prowess than them, what you should do is, okay, what blow did I throw to kill that guy? And how did I develop it to get the shot? And or what tells did I leave out of my shot that allowed me to progress with that shot and get a shot in on him? That's when you're fighting. I don't know. I was aggressive. So if I saw somebody do something and I thought it was cool, I literally would walk up to them and go, "Hey, can we go over here to this tree and you show me how you are throwing that shot?" And you know, I would empty my cup, as some people would say. I would literally just sit there and not say anything for 10 minutes as he threw that shot. And then after he got through throwing the shot, I'd go, okay, when do you throw that? And because I wanted to get his timing, it's not, a lot of shots, you just can't go out there and throw them and they be effective because it's too telling. um, so then I would ask, okay, what position does your opponent have to be before you throw that shot? What position do you have to be to throw that shot? Or what shot did you normally throw before you throw that shot? Um, what shot do you normally throw after you've thrown that shot if it doesn't kill them? And I wanted to see how you developed that shot into your fighting prowess because I wanted to make it effective. And then I would write all of that down and I would circle it because it's different than fighting because um, in fighting you don't know what shots that are coming and so it's all a surprise. But if somebody is showing you something, then they're just standing there throwing that shot. And then I would go, okay, what foot position do you get in before you throw that shot? Or what are your foot positions after you've thrown that shot? Um, you know, because I wanted to totally throw that shot. And then I would go to the Pell and any new shot someone taught me, I would throw it and then I would see how that affected my body. And if it didn't, and if I felt stress or tension in some way, I would modify it until my body felt natural throwing that shot. And then I would either put a star by it, as in, hey, come back to this and take a look, or I wouldn't put anything by it, and i.e., it's a pretty shot, but it's not something that works naturally with my body. And that's the one thing that you have to realize, that not every shot is going to work the same way with different people because of flexibility and athleticism and size. You know, for instance, if that guy is 6'5", I'm probably, and I'm 5'4" or 5'5", I'm probably not going to be able to throw a third of the shots that he can throw because he can cheat because of his size. And so I would just put a star by it, and if I thought it was good, and if I thought it's something I should work on during my Pell work that I did an hour and a half a day. But anyway, that's just a brief way of how to create a journal and how to be effective writing in the journal. Because if you just put, oh, I fought so and so and he beat me, that's not enough information to teach you or to teach yourself. Um, so you have to be a little bit more wordy in the entries into your journal so that it covers all of that, so that even if you can't remember it from your journal, you should be able to just read the notes from that fight and it should come back to your mind, vividly. Like, oh, yeah, I remember exactly what that guy did. And then once you have done that and you study your journal, i.e., just peruse it every now and then, maybe that will teach you how to have an eidetic memory to fighting. I'm not quite sure. Um, I don't know if it's because of my football and martial arts and things like that, but I'm a visual person. So if you do something in front of me visually, I usually remember that. Um, so anyway, that is just how you uh, put an entry into your journal. All right. Once again, this is Duke Tamiki, and I'm talking to you about how to create a journal.